Right, so this is a game for Crane Song. He is in gold 3 right now. He's currently playing Nami Lucian into Thresh Misfortune. Now, as soon as you see like a Misfortune, she's gonna want to like get ahead quite early for lethality. So that's something you need to be careful about. Obviously be careful of the MFQ bounce. Keep an eye on if caster minions are low on your side. Because she gets bonus damage on those minions that die from her Q. So you should be prioritizing keeping an eye out for that. And also you got the Thresh as well. So as a Nami, main priority is like making sure you dodge the hook. You could in theory go either coin or blue GP5 here. It doesn't really matter too much if you wanted to play a little bit more defensive and stay back, which to be honest I could kind of understand against like a Thresh. Like in theory, right, so you got MF is E, her slow, AoE slow is a pretty easy hook land for Thresh, so even if you make a minor mistake in lane you can get caught out, and coin allows you just to stay back a tiny bit more. So coin could be viable here if that's what you wanted to do. Now, because you're Evolution, he is able to, he should be able to dodge the hook, the Thresh hook easier. And in that, I'm just looking for the scoreboard. There we go. And so you should be trying to stay behind the Lucian in a way. So he can then exploit the fact that the Thresh hook is down, and then he can E in. Always keep an eye on the dash potential on the Lucian as well, because you get the double hit on your E, the Nami's E, if that happens. Extra nice little bonus damage on top, because most Lucians basically, if they have pressed the attack, which this one doesn't, 99% of Lucians have pressed the attack. This one doesn't have one, but just for future reference, usually they go in for just the proc and then back out again for the extra damage. Okay. So you're on top side. Let's see. You went blue, which is fine. It just means that there's going to be a little bit more risk. You're probably going to want to try and harass down the Thresh level 1. If you can harass Thresh or any tank engage level 1, it puts them in a bad spot for the laning phase. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't actually mean to rewind there. Just wanted to slow it down for this invade. You take Q first, which is okay during invade situations. You would usually want to start W in lane. Okay, I want to look back at this properly because when do you level up your Q? You haven't leveled it up, right? So you're doing the right thing already. You haven't leveled up your Q already, so you're waiting to see if there's going to be an invade. One thing I would say though is getting bubble. You do take the bubble quite early though. So you see the Graves go into that brush, and as soon as you hear the Zoe Q pop out, if you look at all the CC that you've got on your team, you're pretty much the only one there, and this Teemo's pretty far out, so this should be like your primary target because the Graves might have the dash to get out, so he should be like your primary target. This Teemo's super far extended as well, and Zoe's already shown herself outside the brush. You should be moving forward in a diagonal pathing like that to get ready to Q behind this Teemo and force out a flash or get the kill at least. You're too slow to move out of this bush here. You're literally the last person here and you're the only one on your team with CC. This is a very long time.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, you stand there for such a long time that your Q is utterly pointless at this point. If this situation happens in a 1v in level 1 situation, there is nothing that's going to be good coming out of this chase. at all. The only opportunity was that Teemo there, which you missed out on. At this point, you should be spam pinging back your team, getting out of there, especially with Jace still in your base, basically. Because you started Q, you took Q. Your laning phase is going to be impaired by quite a bit, because usually you want to W and then E and then Q. So you've set yourself back quite a bit in the laning phase here as well. But honestly, I feel like you could have reacted to that way quicker. Sure, Zoe showed herself early, and it was kind of bad from her. Especially she could have started E as well, which would have been a lot nicer for a level 1 fight. But you could have been easily in position there for that Teemo. And at the very least, you would have got Teemo Flash. There's a chance Graves hasn't leveled anything. But yeah, there's a good chance that Graves would have had the dash out anyway. So your best bet was that Teemo. I'm assuming nothing happens here. Yeah, I think like there's no point even throwing a bubble out here. Just don't encourage your team to go in at that point. Just get out. Start hanging around here still fine to make sure they don't invade though. That's fine. You do a pull. Right, let's have a look. So, as we were talking about earlier, you want to make sure you try, as in all laning scenarios, you want to hit level 2 first if you can. Sometimes it's just not possible. With what you have right now, it should be okay. It's going to be close, but it should be okay. Thresh actually has a Reddit shield, so it's going to be incredibly predictable where he's going to be. Keep an eye on his charges. He might use both now, or he might save one. If he saves one for the next wave, which some melee supports do generally do, then you want to predict when they're going to go last hit and then try and land your CC on there. Or if it was a wave, then just poke them down at that point. But your main target here now is that you probably want to come off to the side here. You know Thresh has hook, but you probably want to come off to the side here and still try and land as much damage as possible onto the Thresh. You're just going to have to be good micro in dodging the Thresh hook, in all honesty. You have to stand off to the side to dodge the misfortune cues. But you still need to make sure you harass this Thresh down a little bit. You should be also trying to auto hit minions here as well. So if you're not auto hitting Thresh, you need to be auto hitting minions to get level 2 quickly. That's fine. Just do what you can. Just need to hit these minions more though. Oof. You need, yeah, we go. Start helping out more, get that level 2 quick, and then Thresh, then you've got an advantage to do some damage onto that Thresh. This is a good start. Right, so, okay, right. I think you just went in just an ever so tad slightly too early here. Alright, what you need to do in a lot of cases here where you're going to hit level 2 first and they're hanging around just before the last minion dies to make you hit level 2. So in the second wave, 3 melee minions will hit you level 2. So as the third one is just about to die, you want to be like pretty far ahead and getting ready to CC. I'm going to have to set at 0.25. Second melee minion has just died. Okay, the third one's about to die now. And you need to press that forward here, which you're kind of doing, but you need to do it a tad bit more. Keep going, keep going, keep going. The bubble's too early. The bubble's too early for this kill. You just need to set up position, and then once I would, because you've got such a good advantage here, it's a shame you do have a Q, but I would go E instead of W here. E just to get the auto attack, so just to guarantee the bubble, and it will mean one of two things: that they're going to take a crap ton of damage, health potion, and probably burst heal, or you get a flash. Don't forget self-applying yourself with the E also gives you movement speed as well. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame because there's a wasted level 2 potential there. Just like the half-hearted like Q out and then it's like move away, because even if Thresh Qs you here and you land the bubble on the MF or even on the bubble on the Thresh, to be honest, like either would be fine. You would hit level 2, then you would have another spell. If you did get caught up by that hook, then you would then take W to heal yourself. And then it would probably, so you heal yourself, it would bounce the Thresh, and Lucian should E in at that point, and he would just get clipped by the heal bounce as well. So you just need to use that potential a tiny bit more. So you missed a Q. I would say, what did you level up? You took W out anyway. I think that's fine, but you need to encourage the Lucian to go in more. Sometimes you kind of have to take a risk in Wing your ally to then hope that they bounce into the enemy, just to give your AD movement speed just to get in and give them the encouragement to go in. Like Lucian here had no encouragement to go in there at all. Let's watch that at normal speed. Yep, key missed, whatever. Lucian's hit 2 here. I would W the Lucian to speed him in and go in. And what puts him... Yeah, for some reason, like, hitting the AD and like toppling them off like that, and the bounce going onto the AD carry does genuinely give them more motivation to go in, and you really do want to engage in that situation. Now, that situation was actually pretty good. Even having E at that point would have been nice too, because it would have encouraged him to dash in as well. You guys just need to exploit this fact a lot. You had, to be honest, fairly good positioning. These guys overextended like crazy when they're not even level 2 yet, and you missed a very good chance at punishing them there. You had the kind of the right idea in a way with the bubble, but it was kind of like too half-assed, and you weren't really, you're playing it too safe. When really level 2 into level 1 is like the biggest power spike in the entire laning phase. And you should never be scared, especially when you're in full HP as well. There's literally nothing to be scared about as long as you've got appropriate vision for the jungler, which actually you didn't have. As long as you got a ward here, you should always be willing to go in for that. It's such a big power spike. So ideally you want this lane to get back to the middle. This isn't good lane positioning right now. You want to help push this into tower and reset the wave again so that the minions are in the middle of the map, because you're kind of exposed here right now. Because there's three really bad things here. I mean, Graves could just come down here and then you guys are called out and you might need to use a flash. Graves could come in through the lane and Lantern could come out from Thresh and he can flash or whatever. And you can have the potential here, if you overstay too much, then you're going to be get attacked by this tower if you get hooked. So this wave needs to get cleared out. And that's the threat I was talking about earlier with the MF slowed Thresh hook. It's good that you managed to dodge that one, but I can see that happening more throughout the lane. Too much focus there on the MF. Don't forget she's also got strut as well. I think you could have easily have just done 3 damage there to the Thresh. Don't forget the Thresh had just missed his hook here as well. This Thresh is super close to you. I would personally like E myself straight away, auto attack the Thresh, then Q the Thresh. You probably won't flash at that point, then it's a W onto the Thresh as soon as your Lucian E's in, and you just keep whacking auto attacks. I might even like use Ignite on the Thresh at this point as well to get summoners off of the enemy, because it'd be worth it. Getting a heal and a flash off the enemy team just for your Ignite would be pretty strong. And also it would force the Thresh to use all of his health potions as well in lane. I think this here is another massive potential for like damage. You probably won't get the kill on Thresh. It'd be extremely unlikely. But you would be able to get him down incredibly low, so then you'll have full lane control here for at least the next 2 minutes until he's full HP again. But this Thresh hook was on cooldown, you should have known that. I'm recording it. It's the same with like Blitzcrank as well. Hook's down, just go for it. Because all he can do is flay, right? So yeah, like he did an auto attack there, but you should be empowering yourself with E. You really should be. The extra damage isn't really nice and the slow. Okay, so you got caught here. The first thing you want to make sure you can do here is, well, Thresh is going to use everything. Your primary bubble target now is the Misfortune. And usually if you have to run away, you want to make sure you get E on your AD carry if it's up. Because then your AD carry can then apply slows to kite them away from you. So if they do pursue you and chase you down, if you do get super low here, your AD carry will be able to slow the enemies down still. Or at least pose a pretty big threat. Because in a way, like from looking at this straight away, you should actually win this fight. You're going to take a fair amount of burst damage. You're probably going to go down to 50% here. But if you manage to bubble this MF coming in, which will be pretty predictable where she's going to stand around about here, you can precast that Q out as soon as you get clipped up by that hook. And then you E the Lucian as quickly as possible. Whether you W yourself quickly first, then E the Lucian, or vice versa, you just need to get that combo out as quickly as possible. I'm going to put it on 0.25. Right here, there should be a bubble coming out. You prioritize W first. That's a no-no. At least the bubble does come out. But you can get that bubble off way cleaner in the actual hook itself. You should always prioritize bubbling the AD carry, especially when they have no dash, because it's super predictable where she's going to be. Like what she should do, that if you're this MF in theory, what you should do is flash, anticipate the bubble, flash the bubble, and pursue for the kill. Flash forward straight away. So everything's kind of gone as predicted so far. You've gone straight to half HP from the burst, plus now you got the Ignite on top of yourself as well. There's still. So you did W on yourself first, and then the Q. You're kind of lucky that the Q landed, to be honest, in a way. Like, if the MF was better, she would have been able to move out of it. Because she still had Strat on herself as well. And then I want to see an E on the Lucian. This is too greedy for you to move in. You've got to let Lucian do most of the work here because of that Ignite on you. And you haven't applied the E to Lucian yet still. That E is too late. One more auto attack from Lucian would put her down to 1 bar of HP. So that would do an extra about 30 damage, I believe. Yeah, 29 bonus damage. So that would put her down to 140 HP. Yeah, you just gotta back off here and make sure you're using your potions as well. Do you not have cookies? I can't remember. I don't know what summoners you took here. Oof. Yeah, you actually got clipped there by... Well, you did get clipped by the MFQ there. Right, so you know they're gonna recall at this point. There's a good chance Graves might be nearby as well. Just shove in this wave as quickly as possible and go by. Overall, it was a win for you guys, but... just want to see the spell order chain a bit better. We went Airy Resolve. I can understand why you went Resolve because of the Thrash and MF combo. That's still fine too. I want to see you guys pushing this wave again though. This wave is not a good wave. This basically what's going to happen is this kind of minion's going to die, and then these 3 casting minions are going to stay alive because they're not getting hit by the tower properly.
Robot coaching, beep boop, D.
Thanks, Pez dude. These casting minions are not going to get attacked by the tower, so it's actually going to freeze pretty nicely for them as well. You had also picking up this extra gold for Lucian is like what, an extra 100 gold or so, that which might be able to help him buy at the very least he should be buying a control ward, but in reality it could, I don't know, it could help him get it towards something else. But you need to get this wave pushed to the tower, so by the time you get back it's splat bang in the middle of the wave here. Because now it's just a big stack there. Your own minions are denying CS. If you were the enemy in the situation, if you were playing the MF and a Thresh, you would want to make sure you could freeze this here, because this is it's always nice being near your tower anyway, right? So you don't have to worry about too much about jungle ganks and things. But in theory, this is like when you should freeze. This is when MF and Thresh should be freezing the lane. MF shouldn't be pushing this in. So yeah, pro tip, that's where you should be. Them pushing this in is a really stupid idea, because they could just hang around this area of the map for such a long period of time. Especially with them being multiple summoners down now as well. So right now you've got summoner advantage. You actually still have your flash up, and Lucian still has his heal, so you can still be arrogant and a little bit cocky here. And the MF hasn't got lethality yet, which is basically her first power spike item. So it's basically like the equivalent of Ezreal not having a tier. Like, that tier is a very core item of Ezreal. The lethality on MF early is super important. Also bear in mind now the Lucian now has a Vamp Scepter as well, so he will be able to sustain a little bit better in lane. Just as you're coming back into the lane here as well, you want to make sure you've got like you've got no control ward, which is a shame. It's unlucky on gold. I can understand why you take a pot. If you were like 50 gold, if you were like 50 to 60 gold, I wouldn't have bought a pot and I would have waited for control ward, because you want to try and be a bit cheeky here, maybe for some of the aggression. But I can understand why at the same time where you've ended up with a health potion. But you can basically do like semi engages, if that makes sense. So you can kind of go in and then go out again, and then Lucian be able to sustain for minions, and then you have the sustain advantage. You only had enough of Spell Thief upgraded. Yeah, that's fine then. It's a shame you guys didn't get the kill, but yeah, it's fine. Just make sure you get your AD carry or someone toward here. You should have seen this happen on the map. The Graves knocking up that plant. So you know he's on the southern part of the map right now. So you would, after this is passed, you want to pop the ward down there. And you actually want to play passive for a little bit. MF's been pushing this in. So you actually want them to push to you. And you technically don't even, this is one thing that I find kind of annoying in lane, right? So there's literally no reason for you two to be this far up. This minion here is not going to kill this casting minion. As soon as you realize that this minion, some of these minions aren't going to kill off these minions, you should just back off all the way up here, because there's no XP to even attempt to get here, so there's no point overextending that far in the lane. Do you know what I mean? Because these minions are going to push up to here anyway, so you should have been standing around, like, both of you should be standing around about here. Don't push in the wave. Okay, this is one of the instances where you don't want to push in the wave. You want them to come as much to you as possible. Make it clear to your jungler that the MF summoners are down as well, by making sure that the heal and the flash are pinged. Usually if in lane and you want to get a jungle to gank for you, you ping the MFs, the AD carry summoners that they're down, and you do you can do on the area way, or you can ping the jungle champion itself as well, just to indicate, look, this guy's got no summoners, we can probably get a kill. So yeah, you don't want to help this push in, you want them to overextend now because of the lack of flash now. I don't like the use of the random bubbles attempts. It's kind of like half-assed. Do you know what I mean? Especially on MF strat, you've got to be extremely lucky to land a Q there on the MF. Yeah, just freeze it. Like, what you can do is just freeze this wave here, and then what can they do? They just overextend, and then you can burst them down. Okay, here, right there. Okay. Let's just go back there. There was a very, very, very good chance of getting a kill there, actually. Let's slow it right down. Literal no reason for MF. Watch MS pathing, right? Literal no... Look, she's so far up there. You should be Eing yourself or the Lucian if you've trusted him more in lane to be aggressive. This Lucian hasn't been particularly aggressive, so I probably would be more inclined to E myself, but this Lucian should have identified that this MF is way too far out of position. I would personally E myself. That would give you enough movement speed to jolt in a little bit. And then get in there. That would be E or to attack slow. That would then remove the strut and then she'd be slowed. Lucian would be more inclined to go in then as well. And then maybe there'd be a bubble potential there as well. Yeah, that was definitely something that could have happened there. Thresh would have landed in the way, but you would have probably got the MF down to about 50% HP. Nice double bounce there on the enemy there. Once again, you don't want to be pushing in this minion wave. Just keep it frozen on your end. You're actually winning the laning phase now, so you want them to take the risks. If you were playing something like with a AD carry that could insanely wave clear, like a Sivir, then it would be okay to push in because then you could siege them under here. Do you know what I mean? But this is like really like safe for them. Whereas if they're being constantly sieged under tower, then it's just like they're probably going to get tower dived and you can get a kill that way. But the way you two are going to get a kill is by them overextending and making a mistake, which they have done a few times. So in a situation where you want to catch them out in the open field, just let them walk out into the open field. Good bubble. Alright, I want to watch that again. That was just like one of those extremely lucky bubbles actually. It was one more of those half-assed bubbles. But it actually stuck. Yeah, you could tell that because the MF had been last hitting each minion there as they were coming down, it was pretty predictable that she was going to hit last hit minion here, and you identified that. So yeah, and then also she's stuck in place for that auto cast as well. You need to use everything you can here. You got no ignite, so just get as much damage on her down here as possible. As soon as you know that E is gonna land, you should always E yourself straight away. I want you to do like self-target E combo macro straight away there. Yeah, did you? Yeah. I don't think your heal bounce went to Lucian either, did it? This is why you should wait for your double W if you can, ever so slightly as well, for the Lucian for time to get in here. He did just hit this massive burst damage here. I know it happens a lot in 1 second to take in, but you always want to E yourself on the engage. So you would fire out on auto. So you Q here, fire out on auto attack. While the auto attack's flying through the air, you would E yourself, and then you throw another auto attack out. Because as the auto attack projectile is heading out of yourself, if you apply E to yourself, as soon as that projectile lands, it will apply the damage, extra damage and slow anyway. So if you E yourself, then the E combo there. Right now would have been when your W would have been able to be cast, and then it would have been damage onto the MF. Then Lucian would have been the primary target. Then it would have been damage to the Thresh. Instead, it was MFU Thresh. Now Lucian does have heal, and your Thresh has no ignite, so he should be safe here. And you eat the Lucian as well, which you shouldn't do, right? Because Lucian is going to be scared in this situation anyway. There's no way he's going to go ham unless you're probably like Challenger, because they're cocky. So basically, whoever you give E here in this situation, for example, it should always be yourself. Because you're going to need to kite off in case they keep chasing. I mean, suddenly their jungler could appear, right? And then, you know, there's no benefit of that. You need to be the one peeling off for the Lucian. The E isn't going to give him anything here because it's not going to apply any slows to the enemy, and it's not going to get increased any extra damage here. Right here, your primary job after he gets caught by the Thresh hook is how can I peel them off from Lucian to either keep going in or walking away. Because don't forget, in this peeling situation, even if Lucian were to stay in this situation, you personally would still be able to get every single one of those E charges off onto the enemy anyway. So the damage and the slow portion isn't technically wasted. The only thing that's wasted is like the half a second burst from the Lucian's double attacks. But you should be able to, in theory, land every 3 auto attacks during the duration of this fight anyway. So there'll be no like damage drop off from this fight anyway. But you don't wanna be in front here anymore. Lucian just had to use his dash away now. You just need to prioritize and peeling and getting out now. Yeah, that was just a mistake. Basically, you want to reset this wave as quickly as possible. You're not aware of this graves coming down yet either. You'll know soon. In my head, I'd be like, pushing this wave quickly and just get out and go by. Now you know the graves is here, so now you have to now think of what's the best way of getting out of the situation. You've got a fair distance here between away from the Thresh and the MF. The closest target here that can cut you off the most is the Graves. So Graves is the primary threat here. And what I would personally do is I would put my life on the line to save this guy. You got a flash. You will be able to dodge a Graves Q. He isn't 6 yet, the Graves. So I would E myself to help speed myself into around this position here. Because Graves is going to dash in, right? And then you want to E to slow down the Graves, and after he's used his dash, then you land the Q. Whether or not if he has flash up, which you probably won't know at this point, you will either get the bubble or get his flash. And then if he flashes, you flash away. So I would ideally like to see you E yourself, auto attack, get this Graves to dash, bubble his dash, and then see what happens from there. At some point also, you got enough mana for W? Yeah, you do as well. So you got enough mana for 3 spells there. Okay. Let's see what happens in 0.25. Yeah. I think you should sacrifice yourself here at the very... He's gonna just dash that. Yeah. Everything's all wrong there. You'll be safe from this. We don't know about Lucian. All things... That MF should be dead. All things considering... You're very lucky. But that's how I would have handled the play, and high ELO, that's just something to bear of. So you need to be the person peeling. So E yourself to slow, predict the dash coming out, Q the Graves. It's literally the only way he can get in. And then, yeah. When Bizzleberry does, it's gold, yeah. Hey, the one and only, and Arrow, how you guys doing? But yeah, I mean that would have been the perfect way to handle that. Graves went incredibly low as well. You got enough resources here just to push in the wave. This is okay to do now. Push in the wave and go back. That's really that really shouldn't have happened. Now you guys are super lucky to the fact that you managed to get a kill off that is kind of insane. But anyway. If we did it the Bizzle way, you wouldn't have got a kill. I'm guessing you predicted the fact that the MF would suicide tower dive. Alright, entering back into the lane, you bought a control ward, good job. 2 Fairy Charms. Yep, that's also fine too. Okay, one thing here straight away, you got no vision here at all, and you put a control ward here. I don't agree with this control ward here. No, I do not like this control ward here. This sort of control ward is good if you have had the enemy jungler up your ass the entire game, or you are constantly under tower. It's been the complete opposite this game. So this control ward needs to be... You either need to be looking for a play to work with Rengar here. So what you could do is you could do control ward here to let the Rengar come into the lane here at the back. Or you push your control ward to this brush here. I think because you've got a slight deficit here on your team and you're a Rengar, as you're coming to end lane, he has picked up his blue buff. I would personally put the control ward in this brush here and make it clear to your Rengar that is available to him. And actually your Rengar is an extremely high level as well at this point, and he actually you haven't got a deficit. What am I talking about? You guys are 4-1 up. But regardless, your Rengar can easily come into this lane with a nice control ward. And then you will be hitting 6 soon, I assume? Yeah, you're almost 6. So as soon as Rengar's finished this, you've taken out this wave and... Is the next wave cannon? Yeah, so as long as you got the cannon, you're virtually almost 6, and you can set up with your tidal wave. And hey, Professor X, how have you been? So yeah, get a control ward here. That would be super cool with the Rengar, especially if your jungle was really far behind. You wouldn't want to put a control ward there because it would be wasted. Your jungler would probably get counter ganked by the enemy jungler, and it would be crap. So you would, if you're in that kind of situation, you want to prioritize putting a control ward here. But yeah, the only instances I'd put a control ward there is if you're under tower a lot, or if the enemy jungler has been like all of them at like constantly. Because really good junglers, especially ones like Camille, can do like sneaky plays where they can like go through and kind of only take 1 tower hit, and they can kind of go through here. So that's when this sort of ward becomes a little bit more valuable. Yeah, so here or here. I'm rambling a bit too much now about this one ward, but yeah. Good, just doing Tarek things and stuff. Naughty girl. Tarek. Breaking the meta. Okay. So just think a little bit more aggressively, because you are ahead in this lane now. That's a really good zoning bubble, because no matter what happens, she either has to choose to walk into this one or not. You want, as usual, so whatever target that isn't hooked, you want to E. So for example, in the last situation where Lucian was hooked, you want to E yourself to help heal. In this situation here, you want to E the Lucian as quickly as possible to help peel off, because the worst case situation here now is that this Thresh now gets into melee range and then flays you. You have your bubble up, but being able to catch the slow from the Lucian to help peel out and even apply extra pressure with the extra damage will be super strong here. Because if honestly this Thresh should not go in here. I don't know what he's going to do, but if he goes in here right now and does a flay, you can stay in this for quite a considerable amount of time in this fight, and you could probably get the turnaround pretty nicely here. Because this is super far extended up, and this Rengar might come down if this fight lasts a little while. Yeah, the Thresh did the right thing now, not going in. And you did E the other person this time, so that's super good. So right now you want to keep going in. I would even go to the extent here, you need to flash here. You have Ignite and Flash up here. I think you're out of range the entire time to even be in Ignite range. Here, you could have maybe ignited, but I wouldn't have either. Because Lucian has been kind of passive, to be honest. I wouldn't have predicted he would go in here. And right there, she's out of ignite range. There's only 2 things she can survive this now. It is flashing away, which she hasn't got flash, or lantern. And to prevent the lantern being able to save her, you need to secure it by doing an ignite. Because if you kill MF here, you get entire shove in here, and if you were to get this MF like killed right here, you would then spam this Mountain Drake, and you would make sure you'd get done as quickly as possible with the Rengar. So then you got full dragon control now at this point. I think the Flay puts you out of range. You needed to flash before the Flay came through. That was a good Flay by Thresh there. Okay, now you need to do 1 or 2 things. Okay, so you now need to either A, siege the crap out of the tower to keep them there and the MF at really low HP, or you can freeze it and you can maybe even go to dragon anyway, depending on what the Rengar wants to do. Doing a dragon call at this point here would be perfectly fine too, because the MF's really low HP. But I personally would try and encourage, because you've only just bought, right? And you haven't got anything, no gold from only, you only killed one wave. So I would encourage the Lucian to freeze the wave by doing back pings and then quickly typing freeze. Because there's literally no way MF can farm CS here. So those are your two options. You either hard push in and siege them under tower, or you'd freeze, and freezing in my opinion would be the better option here. I just used to see more freezing in the lane back in season 3 and 4. Not many people do it now these days. It's all about shove, shove, shove. Make sure you hit this tower a few times with GP5. Good, good, good. I think you can stay because you haven't got much gold still. You still kind of have to stay in this lane. During this time as well, I would have had a little sneak peek to see if if there was a controlled here. I forgot my fog of war was set to red only, but you kind of need to also make sure you check that there's no controlled here as well during this time, because the lane's free. They decided to ditch the lane. This control ward here, there's a control ward there like 90% of the time. You're just gonna make sure there's not one there. What you can do as well, if you're in an ultra seat, if you always constantly are sieging down a tower, getting a ward here as well is also pretty nice as well. Just a normal trinket ward there as well, just to see if Graves could go here and then Lantern and then, you know. Now you see it, you probably can still get this safety. Be quick. Right, stop. Anyone see anything wrong with this? The Thresh is way out position here all by himself, and you just heard the Q wear up at 2. And in this situation here, I'll just E the Lucian instantly. 2 reasons: give him a little bit of movement speed to dodge the hook, but if the Lucian is good enough, he should be dashing in here and exploiting this position here. As soon as the Lucian dashes in, then you want to W the Lucian. And what you can do is, if it's going to be hard for you to close in the gap here, so you got 2 options. You could Q the Lucian to speed him up again with your passive. If you didn't know that your Q and your ulti, if they go over your allies, then they get sped up by the passive. Or what you can do is you can actually come around here kind of safely. You've got your flash up, and MF has just used heal from that last time she got caught. I'm not saying like go crazy here. I'm just saying just be here to be annoying, because there is a chance here that the MF is going to cast ulti and it'll be a free bubble here. I wouldn't cast wave just yet though, not in this position here, because of the MF ulti coverage. And because if you wave here onto the Thresh, MF is just going to do ulti covering fire, and then you guys are just not going to be able to follow up on that at all. You've got to flash this. This is a kill though. You're holding onto your flash a tad too long now. Okay, I wasn't expecting you to get caught here by this hook. I want to watch it like from the get-go. I want to watch it like frame by frame. It's so much easier actually playing the champion and in the scenario than watching it back, because you get the feel of the game as well. Like the Q were up here, you would have heard that would be instant E on the Lucian, and you would at the same time you would like obviously stay away from the hook as well. Even though you do get hooked here, you've got a second here to flash away. You'd flash up. Even when the Thresh is coming in, you flash up here. You flash up here, and then you instant tidal wave, and then you bubble never dub yourself basically whenever you get caught by CC. Not as the first thing. You got to make sure that CC's there, because the heal in the isn't gonna help. If you prioritize Wing you're queuing up your spells the wrong way, so that you're going to take more damage than what your heal is going to do basically. So you've got a flash. There's no reason not to use flash. You should be flashing towards the Lucian here, and then you ult here to also interrupt the MF. So you do a downward ult like this, you would Q the Thresh, ignite the Thresh, E Lucian, and then W yourself. It would bounce the Thresh and then heal Lucian. Flashing in the wrong direction as well. You haven't used E yet, have you? You haven't used E or ulti yet. Like... you're not fast enough on using your spells here. On the bubble there, then you should have used your ulti and your ignite and you could have even auto attacked him there with the E. He would actually die there pretty quickly. Lucian's in a really bad spot now. So now you're 100% safe in theory, right? You wanna make sure you still haven't used E yet. That Lucian should have E. Just give Lucian the E, please. Don't die. Okay. Yeah, that should have been a honestly, that should have been a Thresh kill. You got caught pretty badly. You're pretty lucky to be alive, but that should have been a Thresh kill. I hope that some of the way me telling you what you should be doing when you're getting caught is helping you what you should be doing in your spell order. So always prioritize either flashing straight away, or if you can't flash or you don't want to flash, throw Q out first. E whoever isn't the one being CC'd so that they can help heal. And then you worry about, you know, topping up your HP or flashing away. Then at that point, if you really need to, ulting, etc. You do not stay in this lane, by the way. You recall. You do not stay in this lane. You now need to recall, both of you. You lost that mini fight, and they got a time to clear out this wave anyway. You guys are staying in here for no reason. All you were gonna lose if you went back to base here was probably like a cannon minion and like maybe 2 melee minions. This is just straight up greed. Alright, you're gonna get tower dove here and you got nothing. You got nothing to play with here. This is both of your fault. You really should have backed after that fight that you lost. There's actually literally nothing you can do in this situation but get a random bubble off. I wouldn't have used E there myself. I would have used just tried to get a bubble up. But Rengar's doing okay here. You can't really follow up here. You've got to get back. Don't chase. Oh god. Uh-oh. You're wasting too much time. Oh no. Also like you gotta pincer someone. If you're gonna do this properly, right, and tower dive one person under their tower, you need one person on this side and one person on the other side to like squeeze them in to give them no entry, because all you two are doing is entering from here, and all Graves has to do is just stand here like he is right now, and there's literally nothing you can do. Recording that's pretty ballsy too, actually. You're kind of lucky there, actually. Rengar's in no man's land as well. Let's just focus on you. Okay, you're rotating to mid. You're going back bot now. Yeah, you really need to get back to lane. There's nothing really to do mid lane. Okay, I want to watch that back to the beginning. At what point do you know when this Thresh is going in? So he must have walked past this ward actually. Just watching the minimap now. Yeah, so you see this Thresh coming in here of half HP. Okay, if I saw that as well in your position. Oh, by the way, get mobility boots. You should have mobility boots by now. Mobility boots as like decently early as you can is is better than finishing off a Forbidden Idol and getting an amplifying time. Just helps you get around the map a bit quicker, yeah, and getting those wards down as well. So you know that the Thresh is going to come in at some point. Good control ward here. This is a better control ward. Okay. Yeah, the only thing you can do here is use your ulti. The position from between here and here is way too high. So using your ult here is good. Right, okay. You want to queue here. They're not going to walk into the wave, so you want to queue just behind the wave here. They're not going to walk themselves into that wave. So it's actually like a decent double bubbles potential here. As soon as you get the Q macro out here, you're not worrying about your own safety here. Your top priority is keeping the Zoe up. Be straight W onto the Zoe. Then you E yourself because you're going through that priority thing of where someone else, if the target that isn't CC'd should get the E buff. So you should be Eing yourself here and looking to peel as best as you can. You should be also analyzing this fight as much as you can. Like, keep asking yourself, is Zoe gonna die? And if the answer is, if you're confident yes, you just need to ditch her and leave out. At the moment, there is potential for her to survive here. No bubble yet. You gotta go now. You gotta, as soon as you see that ignite put down on Zoe, you run. She's gonna die because she's just gonna die because you've just used your heal and there's nothing that's gonna save her. You're committing too hard for this. Now you're in a little bit of an awkward spot here. Yeah, you're dead too. Right? Okay. That was super risky though, to be fair. I think she missed a chain. But it's just kind of besides the point. Like, as soon as you know the person that is like 99% of your damage is gonna die, like that, as soon as that ignite got popped onto the Zoe at that low HP, you should be noping out of there straight away. You can't do dragon. Don't know why someone pinged that though. Oh, I mean, this is risky because the MF hasn't ulted yet, and the Graves, if he had realized, would come down. It's a very risky call. Okay, I guess like as soon as you hit the dragon, and then if you see if Graves is gonna move, and if he doesn't move, then I guess it's fine because they don't actually know that you're doing it. Yeah, that could have been bad news for Rengar. Okay, that's fine. That's more of a pre-made team move though. Like, you poke the dragon and see if the jungler reacts, or if anyone else reacts, and if they don't, then you're free to do it, kind of thing. I wouldn't have called for that in solo queue.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay, remember your flash is down, so you need to be super like safe now. There's enough damage on MF now with her ulti. If you get locked up pretty quickly, you're gonna die. You need to make Lucian like you're effectively your tank here. And you've got a ward charge here. This bush should be warded. You've been near it and around it a lot. Okay, now you've got it warded. It wasn't even your ward actually. Okay, good. Right, the Hand of Thresh hook is down. You should be kind of analysing, can we go in or not? Doesn't really look like there's a chance for you to go in. But once again, once you get this minion wave to tower, make sure it fully goes in. Make sure they don't freeze, and then you back off. You go back to the middle of the lane. There's no benefit of standing here, do you know what I mean? There's like, you've always got to be asking yourself, is it worth standing where I am? Like, what's the advantage of you being here, for example? Nothing. You're not going to lose XP from minions, for example. You just want to tick it safe, go back up to here. Let the wave reset. If you're applying like an AP damage support like Lux, then it would be okay to stand in this brush here, because then you could get like cheeky Fog of War poke out with at max range kind of thing. But just staying in that brush there is just, you know, for no benefit kind of thing. Just be careful. So far it's going okay. If they're pushing in the wave, let them. Let them push into you. Okay, now we got Zoe around. But still I think I'll just ping her back. I don't think there's actually much you can do here. I think it would be a pretty risky dive, especially if LeBlanc decides to come down. Okay, so right, so if you're going for this, like, you need to do it as quickly as possible before LeBlanc gets there from mid down to bot. Like, if you've got a feeling that Zoe's just gonna go for it, you really need to go for it like right now, because LeBlanc is gonna roam down as well, and Graves is just respawn, and he obviously knows that Zoe's down here as well. So you're in a ticking time bomb here. I personally would tell the Zoe to go back, but if this Zoe's gonna dive, you're gonna have to follow up. If that hits someone, right, you need to. You want to ult and then move up. Okay, so how can I explain this? You want to. You can wait like half a second before you cast your ult here as well, before the drowsy ends as well. You want to move up to about here where this melee minion is. Ult down to cover most of the tower. That way it leaves MF the only safe spot she could stand in is around about here, which leaves her super exposed right to Lucian and yourself, and even to Zoe. Now, you move up to your ult will definitely clip onto the Thresh, and then as soon as you channel your ulti, you basically want to stay with this minion so that he is the one who gets the tower aggro when you move in. For the very first shot, you're going to get hit after that because of your ulti. And then you want to bubble either the MF or the Thresh, depending on movement here. But I don't know if you're going to do that or not. Let's see if you ult. Because now you're not in a great position here to funnel off. Because now MF can just like stand there, whereas if you had done the diagonal ulti, it would have forced her to move closer towards you guys, and then she would have been an easy pick off here. I would still ult here, even if it was in a straight line. You want to ult, even though your positioning isn't as best, it's still good here. You should be following up here with your ulti. The problem with this is it's just too late, in a way. It's a really nice bubble, and in theory I can see why you're doing that, but you gotta work with what's happened. So if we take it back like 2 seconds, Zoe has just used everything on the Thresh, and you could have had the follow-up to either go into the Thresh or cause the MF to be a free kill with you and the Lucian without relying on the Zoe damage. She's just way too under tower now. For you to go in without the Zoe damage, whereas the Thresh would just be about just a killable tower diveable, if that makes sense. Because you would have hit the wave, and then if you decided to still go into Thresh, then you could Q the Thresh, and then it would be like Eing the Lucian to go in. You'd probably take 1 or 2 tower shots, make sure you stay safe, and then worst case scenarios, you probably have to take one more. If you might have to take 1 more tower shot, then you'd flash away from tower range to make sure that you could tank as much of the tower before your allies have to do as well. It's pretty good covering fire as well for Misfortune's ulti as well. I'd be very surprised if you get anything from this. Yeah. Since you got nothing from this Veiled Dive, now you all need to know pout, because the whole team is going to be coming down on you. You got LeBlanc coming down from mid, and you probably got Graves coming from the fountain as well. Yep, he is. It's a shame he didn't know pout a little bit quicker here. But once again, they do the mistakes themselves, and they die under tower as well from silly things as well. Okay, let's hope let's speed up this game now. Let's actually see some mid game stuff now.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
What's the next dragon? An ocean drake. You got decent bot side wall control. You actually got 3 control walls on the bot side of the map. The only tier 1 tower up is bot, so you probably will want to still stay like nearer the bot map of the area because it's still the last tier 1 tower up and it is pretty low HP. I just want to see a little bit more incentive now on trying to push it and close out the tower and end the laning phase for once and for all. Thanks, Sui. That should be fine. I want you to keep constantly pushing pressure here as well to kind of distract the situation on the Rengar as well. Because no matter what happens, if you cause massive distraction here anyway, and say 4 people come down, then your team's going to get the Herald anyway, which is at the very least an equal trade to 2 kills for the enemy team. Also, yeah. Same thing again, like they're busy like wave clearing and spamming spells here. You want to try and take this check to see if those are controlled here and then work with your Lucian to clear it pretty quickly too. Right now you got Zoe coming down again. You got like a take 2, second chance here as well on bot side because there's a massive facade going down here in mid. Don't know what's happening there. But basically that means that you've got to take action here. There's a fight happening in the middle of the map with 3 of the enemy team. You need to make sure that you've got some sort of advantage down here now. Pathing here isn't particularly great from your team because you're not pushing in the minions. If that was your controller, that's a really good controller, by the way. Getting full control of this tri-bush as well in a tower dive situation is really nice. And if you're able to, probably wouldn't against a Thresh, but getting a ward here as well would be super juicy too. Right, you need to go properly for this now. Full on tower dive, get the tower. MF's probably going to try and ult to wave clear. That should be your primary concern. Alright, that's a pretty easy Q there. It's a shame you got no flash here. I think because you're so far in front here, you have to kind of Q the MF and then E yourself to give you E yourself here after that as your Q's flying through the air just to get the movement speed to get out from a Thresh hook. No. This is one too many spells. You didn't need to ult yet. That's your life there. Support for support, and the MF ulti is down. Your team will still be able to get this tower down though. After they get it down, just put down back pings and make sure they go back because there's no reason to stay after that point. At least your death ended in 1-for-1 plus tower, okay? So it's not complete like crap. Tell your team to back off here though, this is just arrogance and just being super cocky, right? This is gold 3 Aquado. Yeah, that could have been avoided. Okay, so what do you have now? You have an Ardent Sensor. There is literally no reason to have an Ardent Sensor in your build, by the way. You should be having Unthine's Unholy Grail here. You either want Ardent or Unthine's Unholy Grail first item. You haven't really got any use here with the Ardent at all. So you should be going Unholy Grail into Redemption, and then if you wanted to, into an Ardent Sensor. You haven't got a Hyper Carry here. Sure, Lucian does an okay amount of auto attacks, but he doesn't really scale off attack speed that great and compared to other champions, so there's much less worth there. Whereas the amount of heal that Unholy Grail does is borderline OP right now, so you should be prioritizing Athene's Unholy Grail there too. Yeah, nothing else to mention there. It should be Unthine's Unholy Grail and Control Orbs at this point. Moving into Redemption. So you got the Drake spawning in 30 seconds here. You're doing the right thing here, making sure that Drake is your priority right now, because that's the only easy objective up right coming out. Tier 2 towers aren't particularly too easy to take. Also, you've still got that Herald and Rengar as well, so after the Drake you should be getting ready to use a Herald. Okay, you kind of have no choice here but to work with your jungler. E'ing him in here is pretty good. Just be aware though, if you do have Airy, using E on someone as Nami does give away the position of a stealth target, but he's already walked over mushrooms and stuff, just giving you a heads up. In case you didn't know, Airy kind of gives away the stealth position. Okay, yeah, okay, let's your W wasn't used correctly here. E'ing Rengar here is fine, right? That's fine. It's what you do after, which is you should be keep chasing in here. Your pathing should be to here. Your pathing should be here, and you should try and W this Rengar so that your heal bounces over too. Because he's your target here. Like he's so close to you here. That should be W over onto the Graves. Oh, I think we've got a special guest helping me with this VOD review. Hey, bud.
I'm closing the door.
Are you?
I'm here.
Are you here? Are you gonna help me do this VOD review?
Yes.
Yeah, are you gonna help me?
Yes.
Oh, right. So, Graves should
Don't talk.
Don't talk. I have to talk. It's my job. Graves has to will take this W here, and he probably would die from the dot damage as well. That kind of forced Rengar to flash here. Ooh, yeah, so it's at the tower there. Yeah, I don't think he needed to flash in. You should have used your damage as extra movement speed, plus extra damage onto the Graves there as well.
Come out.
Bye. Thank you for helping me. But yeah, your W should have been used there on the Rengar there, though. Definitely. Extra movement speed, extra damage. There was no real need to hold on to that for such a long time. Should just use it anyway. Cute little steal there on the red buff. Setting this up for Rengar. Yeah, sure. Why not? Gonna have to recall after this though. You guys should recall. You need to recall. You got no mana. You got no mana at all. There's no real need to be hanging around doing oracles here. You still need a recall. Yeah. Okay, let me just have a look back at that incident. Let's put the ward control. So you know LeBlanc's around there anyway. You had a quick glimpse that she's around here anyway, and you're way too far overextended, so it shows to me you're not reading the minimap properly there at all, and you weren't aware that she was there. I mean, there was no reason for you to push up to this point here anyway, and you had good vision on the LeBlanc there to be able to see that even possibility from even happening. So yeah, yeah, and now Herald's being used, now you can't go back. This is just escalating the recall issue. So it's been twice now this game now. You should have recalled at certain times. Luckily you got an Ocean Drake. As long as you don't get involved too much, you'll be able to regen an okay amount and be able to do like extremely defensive passive Ws. But the fact that Rengar summoned Herald and isn't following up on this at all is super weird. I think you just leave it. You can't be up here by yourself with just the two of you. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you die because you didn't go back after the dragon. Not the best Herald use in the world. Alright. Right now, your primary objective is Baron control. There's nothing for you to do this game apart from Baron control. Rengar wants to go in again. Also, make sure you put down a ward at this spot here, where Nami is right now. whenever a tier 1 tower's down, like this should be like, this is probably the most important ward mid and late game, is this ward in the middle of the lane. It sees where rotations are happening, it sees where the enemy are going to 99% of the time. So this ward here, slap bang here in the middle of the lane, is super important and should always be placed there. The other two wards, normal wards, could be placed like either semi deep in the jungle for the Baron, so you could put one, you could stand here, pop one over there, and I would probably put one on the pixel brush here, and then your control ward should be on the Baron. If there's already a control ward on the Baron, then you need to work out what entry point the enemy team are going to do. So you put a control ward here. If there's already a control ward here at Baron, you put a control ward here, or you put it like around about here, so that if they put any wards over this wall or over this wall, you'll see most of them. Yeah. At this point, you should be telling your team to do Baron. You guys are miles ahead, right? Mid tier 2's down. Going for a tier 3 is
Thanks for
a bit
all
greedy.
the great information, Bizzle. Love the stream and content.
Thank you, John, for the 1,500 bits, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think as a support, you have more map. You should have more map awareness, and you should be telling directing your team where to go, and try not to encourage bad decisions like this too much. Because look, you've got tier 2 mid and top down. If you want to pressure into this mid tower by brute forcing it, what's the point overtaking it over a Baron? And you've got a Mountain Drake as well, right? So your job as support is to make sure this objective, the easiest objective on the map, is fully controlled with vision, right? So, as I said, ward here to see them chasing in. Get rid of this blast cone so they can't use it as an escape. And just get wards in. Even if there's like a normal ward there, or not normal ward there, control ward there, just get vision there. Do you know what I mean? Because if you do die and get caught out, at least that vision is there, so your team knows what's going to go on. This is now super bad. As soon as this, you should have been using, you say your spell's too late. Like as soon as this Zoe gets caught by a Thresh Hook, you should be using every CC possible to disengage this. As soon as you see that, you ult. As soon as you see that Thresh Hook on your primary carry, you ult. Like ASAP. And then you do bubble, then you move up forward to do bubble covering fire. Because a lot of the times I die is trying to save teammates in this sort of situation. Let's be honest, Nami, once you've used your ulti, you're worth a lot less, way less than, you're like worth like half a Zoe, really, to be honest. Zoe's pretty fed this game, and she's like super important to make sure that mid game goes smoothly. Ult, still need to ult. That would have just stopped the LeBlanc come through. You're doing a bubble. You gotta use wave here. 3 targets here to stop them coming through. Zoe dies, right? Yep. You could have saved her with just a tidal wave. So now you got to play defense now for 40 seconds, and you haven't got your ward structure set up as well. So that, God, your team just wants to keep going in now, right? As a support, I'd be spam recalling back here. Okay, right. You tell everyone on your team to go back now and go Baron. You spam the crap out Baron. If they don't listen to you, then whatever. Then that's just unlucky. But you go Baron here. This is a free Baron now because Zoe's going to respawn before LeBlanc by a decent time as well. There's nothing to be gained here, especially here. Look at the minion wave structure right now. The closest minion is over here. This minion wave is going to take about 15 to 20 seconds to get here, and when that happens, LeBlanc's almost respawned, and Zoe will be like here. So this is like Baron, or you could rotate the bot. You got two options here. You could go back. I would go back. This should be still a free Baron. But you can rotate the bot here, get a tier 2 recall. I don't like the fact that you still got no vision of this area here, so they could rush it if they see you recalling off that tier 2 bot. That is a potential, but those two plays could work. So whoever pinged that tower, Jace saw that. So Jace actually had decent map awareness there of that tier 2 potential. Just bear in mind they can rush Baron here because you're all going to want to recall here at this point. You do not want to stay here. You do not want to stay here. So now LeBlanc's about to respawn, and if you look where Zoe is on the map, she's way over here. She's not even interested in coming down here. You need to get out. You've got no wave to peel off. So since we can see pings from teammates, I want to see in your games, you need to be more vocal in your pings. Okay, and I'm not talking like spamming question mark plays. I'm just saying the V ping, the caution ping is super important as a support, and telling people, you know, this fight is not going to happen. Zoe's literally on the opposite side of the map. LeBlanc's respawned. It's going to be 4v5. Get out. I've got like no ulti. Let's just get out of here. I'll be pinging my ulti. Just get out, man. Even you should be standing like over here at this point. Even you staying here is encouraging this as well. You can tell that some of these players here as well aren't sure about this play as well, because they're like bouncing backwards and I'm not like, should we go in? Should we not? You need to take control. You need to be more of a leader here. Okay, now you guys are finally recalling. I just hope it isn't too late. You guys could have recalled straight away after that tower. Greedy. That's so greedy. Alright, okay. So, look at the map situation right now. You've got two of the enemy, including the jungler, bot side. Zoe has put a control ward at Baron for you. Your buy is nice. You've got a lot more controls coming up, and you're building a redemption. Still want to see the Unholy Grail on Nami because it's super strong. You need to spam ping Baron, and you need to rush it like right now. 3 bot now. 4 bot. You go Baron here. Why is no one pinging for Baron here? What are you guys doing? Zoe's now decided to spam pin Baron. You should have identified this way earlier. This actually might be too late now. Just put the Fog of War on just to see what's going to happen. This is quite slow. If you had pinged this like 5 seconds ago, this would be pretty safe. You might still be able to get it still. The enemy team are being very, very lazy at coming up to this. Okay, this is yours, and you just want to recall. As soon as you see that Rengar YOLO in, you need to cancel your recall and help out here. Good. And you gotta help. Ult straight away. Perfect. That's the best thing you could do there. Right, stop it. Leave it. Get out. Push in this wave. Reset this wave and get out. Get a ward here if you've got one. Have you got one? Yeah, you should put a ward here. Just to see where they're rotating to. And then just leave. Okay, you bought a redemption. That's fine. What's the next dragon? Infernal. Okay, so Infernal, because there's an Infernal Drake spawning in 30 seconds, it's worth hanging around for 20 seconds and losing 20 seconds or so of Baron to prep up for the Drake. So now you want to, like, you know, in theory, move all these wards over down to the bot side of the map, and you want to like have some future ward planning here because you're going to run out of wards. especially with any of a Frostfang as well, since it's not upgraded. You need to be careful of these next 3 ward placements. Generally, you want to be quite aggressive with them. And I want you to be like spam pinging like next easy, basically always looking at what the easiest objective is. And Inferno is a pretty damn good objective to take as well. It's comparable to like half a Baron at this stage of the game. Problem is Rengar died. You guys are 4v5. Your team has made a massive mistake. Now this isn't technically your fault, but we got to analyze now what you can do here to try and save the day. Graves is super far overextended here. Okay, let's see what you can see. Okay, so all you know is that this Graves is super far extended. So this is already your priority target, and making sure that nothing happens with this Graves. You're going to be getting ready to... Oh, you have no ulti. You have to use it at the Baron fight. So you've got a no ulti, so you're going to be playing around you're going to want to get a redemption down early. Your team's already quite clumped up, and a lot of AoE is about to come down from a Graves here. So I would redemption around about here, closer towards you, because your team are going to be running away from these two. They're not going to be sieging still. They're going to be making... Everyone's looking at this Graves, right? So the redemption should be placed around this Graves. And also it will encourage your team as well to back away from the front line as well, which is good for you because then that brings them closer towards you. Good. You did exactly what I said. Would like to see the redemption moved up ever so slightly, but this is good too. This is exactly the... Yeah, your redemption... Yeah, it's very lucky your redemption didn't come through. Now you got to go on to peeling now. So you're in recovery duty. Holy moly. Right, I'm just going to rewind it. I mean, redemption, I wouldn't say that... I mean, it would have helped if it was earlier, but like that's just unlucky in a way. So you use... You're not actually using any spells here. You need to actually use your spells, by the way. Do you use a single spell here apart from redemption this entire play? Technically 2 people die before you use a single spell. Yeah. I think you could have saved Lucian there. You keep holding back on your spells. I want you to be faster in using your spells. Using the redemption was the exact right timing on that. It's just they died way too quickly. But you've got to help out using your spells. Like this situation here, like I probably would have used the redemption, E'd myself to get in even closer into the situation here, just to clump out. I would... So you've just seen this MF here, you would be rightly so afraid of this Graves still, but look at this AoE potential here from Graves anyway. After seeing... So right now it's basically 2v4 in a way, because these guys have no impact on this fight whatsoever right now. So your primary target is either CCing the Graves or CCing the MF. But you could... Ideally, you would hopefully predict... At the seeing this point, you would predict the MF being ulting here. And you do nudge forward here. You do have time to Q here, but it's not... Because the bubble travel time is so slow that, like... It's not gonna save whoever dies here first. Here, there's Zoe. But you are able to bubble the MF at this point. It would cut off 1/3 of this ulti, and it would mean that your team would survive. And after the bubble, you W. Really doesn't matter who you W. It does look like you try and come in here to Q the MF, but it's too late on the realization of it. And then at this point, you need to W. You need to W someone. And because you haven't used Q yet, you need to cut off. You need to cut off this pathing of this MF by putting a bubble in front of her. So she either walks into a bubble or she has to stand still, which will buy you enough time. With Ardent, I tried to hold onto my spells too much to get Ardent on folks. That's not the situation here at all. It's not about doing damage. It's like your team is... Your team is mispositioned like crazy and they're a man down behind. And honestly, Ardent on this team comp is pretty bad anyway. So, like, the Ardent shouldn't even be going through your mind here. It should be keeping everyone up as long as possible and then maybe switch around later on once the Rengar can close back in from base to maybe do a quickie turnaround with his ulti or something. I mean, Bubble, for example, has no Ardent effect on anywhere unless you give someone Airy from it, so you should be using Bubble here anyway to cut off this MF. If you're not going to Q the MF to interrupt the ulti, then you should be queuing her off to cut her off this chase, because you still should have queued here. You still should be queuing. You got to do queues like late, really late. I think at this point you kind of have to re-enter the fight and not stay under tower here. You can probably got your E ready up, I think, now for someone, and your ulti's about to come up, so you should be looking here. You're doing the right thing here. I wouldn't have healed the Rengar. I would have prioritized healing myself here, because if you get clipped by one thing, you're dead. But doing an E on like the Rengar or the Jace and then healing yourself just to give yourself enough HP to be able to make sure you can do somewhat of a good ulti wave would be fine. Like here, for example. Yeah, that's fine. I'm glad you stayed. I'm glad you didn't chicken off from that fight with that low HP. That was good. Just I want to see you not hold on to your spells. Like, Ardent really shouldn't be going through too much of your mind in most of these situations, to be honest. When your team gets caught out, you should be going into emergency panic peel mode. Ardent should be last on your priority list. Alright, you guys just need to recall. Just recall. Because if you guys are super low here, and if you die here, they get Infernal Drake for free. I want to see you could be better on your recalls as well. You are being a little bit too greedy on not recalling. Oh god, yeah. Yeah. And they get the Inferno anyway. So he's now trying to be cocky. Alright, so in my mind, if I was playing this game with what's just happened, I'd be like, okay, we still have a gold advantage, which should be pretty obvious with the amount of towers that you've got down and kills still. You just want to try and regroup your team, and you want to go for the next easier objective. So it's just going to be Baron. Don't know when it's going to spawn, there's no time indicator just yet, but Baron should be a priority now. Just don't make any more mistakes now until Baron. Let's see what happens. Doing this is fine, making sure you got Baron control. That's a good ward to have down. Remember, try and get a ward here though to see rotations. This ward is very, very valuable if you can get one there. Uh-oh. That Zhonya's is bugged. Let me try and rewind time. There we go. Very good. Wait, it's still playing? I can still hear that Zhonya's. Yeah, that's annoying. Alright, I need to watch the start of that fight. Let's do Fog of War as well. Okay, right, let's have a look. It's not looking good anyway. You guys took a massive hit there from a team issue as well. It's a decent ward there to see over chickens. I like it. I would just like to reiterate to your team though that Baron is the best thing you guys could possibly do here, because they just have to like come through here and Zoe can just get skill shots for free. Alright, so you just seen the Thresh hook come through, and the only other bits of information you can see here are the Graves and the LeBlanc here. Where are you? You're here. You can see Thresh coming in here. So the first thing you want to do is get in position for a decent ulti. And to do that, you want to come close to this wall here and then ult south. So that will knock up the Thresh and it will prevent the Graves and the LeBlanc from dashing in briefly. That's a very bad bubble. The ult should have still happened though. Okay, now you've got 2 kills. You now need to press like crazy. Good bubble on the Teemo. Right, if you got redemption, just use redemption here just to top everyone's HP and encourage people to go in for this push. You can't solo dump wards over here because the LeBlanc and Grace will one-shot you. But just make sure you like this Zoe, for example, just like keep up with her and with her antics. That's super nice too. You should be able to end the game here. Yeah. I actually didn't realize you guys were going to win that game. Actually, I thought, whatever, it's fine. It's a good game to review though. Didn't actually know you were going to win that. Didn't actually read the victory, actually. I kind of forgot. But yeah, I want to see you... What impressed me about you that game? Just trying to think. There wasn't a whole lot for you to do that game. I think that I want you to have more... I want you to use your spells more. Like, there's no point in holding onto your spells. Like that team when your 3 of your teammates died instantly like that, you holding on to every single spell until 2 of your teammates die. It's a tiny bit silly. So you just make sure you're using your spells. Remember the E priority target as well. So if you're caught up in CC, give your AD carry your E buff to help heal. And the same vice versa. If your AD carry gets CC'd, E yourself, help heal from that. When a fight breaks out, you want to focus on positioning for a good wave. That's like your main thing. You can, like, even if it means that you're casting spells in between, you want to think of the direction of where the enemy is going to be coming from, and even if it means like Eing and then moving into that direction, Wing, moving into that direction, you just want to get as best positioning as possible while weaving in spells to then use your ulti. A couple of nice things, the redemption use, anticipating that they were going to get AoE down like crazy. That was good too. That was good. A couple of your control wards were decent, just apart from that very first one that we talked about as well. No, but in general, it wasn't a particularly hard game for you, in all brutally honest. Like, the enemy made a ridiculous amount of mistakes from tower dives and things. And in general, it was kind of a free win for you because of the amount of stupid mistakes they made. If you were in high plat or diamond, you would have been punished a lot for your mistakes, so just bear that in mind. So one thing I would suggest is, yes, you won this game, yes, you only have 3 deaths, but if you were in high ELO doing the exact same things, you would probably be racking up to 10 deaths like me. So just bear that in mind. There are a lot of times where you got caught but you didn't use your right spell combination, and your positioning at times for your ulti wasn't particularly great, and you're holding off your spells off a little bit too much as well. But yeah, if I'm going to be brutal, and also your item build, I don't like that as well with the Ardent. I think there's a lot here that you can still work on here. Sorry I'm sounding particularly harsh. I have an incredible amount of games on Nami, but I think that everything that you've done this game could be improved and should be looked at. But if you work on using your spells or using a combination, and in the laning phase, when the enemy oversteps their mark, you need to punish it straight away, kind of thing. So, you know, the Thresh overextending, walking up when he had no hook, that should be like, get him down as quickly as possible. Even if it doesn't mean you're getting a kill, getting his health down is still very important as well. And don't do the half-assed bubbles. It's kind of the worst thing you can do, is just lob out random bubbles. It's the same with like a Blitzcrank or a Thresh. Just throwing out random Qs is not going to get you anywhere 99% of the time. It's just going to put your bubble on cooldown and open up to a counter engage by the enemy. I want to see... Nami's Q is one of the hardest support spells to land in the entire game. Just... you need to have some form of slow at the very least to be able to do a bubble, and you should only be doing bubbles if they have no CC on a target, whether it's slow or stun. It's to cut off pathing, so where they have to move into it or not. Do you know what I mean? So landing like the Q flinging out is not the right mentality for that as well. You want to like have that as a tool that you know that you have a high chance of getting benefit from, rather than just lobbing them out. Just trying to think if I missed out anything out there as well. I think that's everything. That was probably my most harsh support coaching game, so I do apologize, Crane. Yeah. I do apologize. I think I'm being harsh but fair. I think hopefully you don't feel too bad and I haven't put you off from playing Nami. But I think if you tighten up the graphics, if you tighten up your spell usage and punishing the enemy item builds, should be really nice. Oh, thanks, Mosha. 1,000 bits. You've been super generous recently, Mosha. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know you. Okay, you can take it, but I can think of some people already that if I did that to them, the way I was being quite harsh with, I can see them being a little bit demoralized, which I need to be aware of. But no, yeah. Okay, because I'm just thinking like that if you, I'll just leave it like that. There's not information overload. You've got plenty of pointers to take off there, and hopefully you can take that with you. I'll be uploading. Yeah, I was thinking of you, Siri, completely. Like if I did that to you, Siri, you probably wouldn't come onto my stream ever again. I'll be putting up this onto my YouTube channel as well, probably for 2 days time. So what, Monday? This game will come up on the channel for Monday as well, Crane. So you'll be able to go back and any points that you've missed on Monday, you'll be able to like revisit it and go back to it for referencing and stuff like that as well, as you keep playing Nami and stuff as well.